Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you all had a green day today. I'm going to recap today's price action so far and go over a little bit of the things that I was talking about through StockTwits. Now, if you are unfamiliar, I'm just posting my plans and live thoughts throughout the session on StockTwits. And I said I was going to make a video and kind of go into more depth of what I was talking about. So, to begin with what I first uploaded, right at open, I just posted what my plan was for the day. And simply put, I was looking to be long here and short here. First come, first serve. My bias was more towards a long. I did prefer to be long here than the short there, but both valid plays, and let's talk about why. Before that, you might see a traditional chart trader, if you will, might look at this and say, oh, we have support, and then we don't have major resistance till maybe up here. And maybe they're short on the top of that. But how did I know to avoid all this consolidation? Well, first we could see on the right hand side, so just to clarify, this chart is a 30-minute, this is a 4-hour. And during our overnight session, you could see there's a lot of concentrated volume here. And this kind of leads into my second post. And I put a picture of a TPO saying, look at last night's profile. What does this tell you? Or what does this tell you about what will happen in today's session? So, looking at the profile, we could see a nice lowercase b. Now, I could go into a whole video on TPO by itself. I could show the footprint by itself. And if anyone's interested, I do have kind of a slide show that I could talk more into it if I could muster up some interest. But for now, I'll just be brief. So you could see a lot of the concentration, a lot of the time we were in here. This top line and this bottom line represents value areas. Again, something else I could go into, but essentially value is here. Why is value here? Because price traded in here for a majority of the time and most of the volume was done inside this area. Okay, so now what does that mean going into the open? When price is happy to trade somewhere, it's very choppy. It's not directional. It is happy to go back and forth and chop in here. Now, outside of value, as you can see here, sharp movement. That's where you want to trade. Not saying there isn't opportunity inside of here, but it's going to be much more choppier. You're going to have really refined entries and tighter risk and tighter target prices, TPs, which I prefer to kind of play for longer moves most of the time. So that's what I saw coming into this session. If we were going to open inside of last night's value, we'll probably chop around until we gain acceptance outside of it. All right. Now next, looking at the initial balance. If you're not familiar with what initial balance is, it is either the first 30 minutes or the first hour of the session. People like to look at it different ways. Personally, I just look at initial balances that open 30. Now, we're looking at the footprint of the open 30, and we have a bell curve. Now, as we were talking about the market profile before in the Globex session, it was a lowercase b, but that we had a lot of concentrated volume in one specific area. Here, the whole session, the open session initial balance, has this D shape, this bell curve. What that means is price is happy to trade in here, and that's why we saw, if I switch to a different screen, inside our first 30 minutes, so to right here. Oh, sorry. This is a 5-minute chart, and this first 30 minutes we just chopped. Price was happy. Now, what I was looking for, and let me throw my screen back up. Go to my other one. There we are. Back to my plan for the day. I was looking just under this balance, this happy zone. Why would I look under? Why would I look to buy if we're losing support? Well, you're going to have a lot of people in the support, as you can see here. The transacted volume on the footprint, a lot of people were buying here. Not only that, but a lot of people were selling. So what happens to all these people who are buying if we go down? Their stop loss gets hit. And that gives the fuel that we need to continue up. So going back to my clean candlestick chart, what does that look like? Once we were chopping here, we pull below. This is a whole bunch of stops being ran, and we get an aggressive move up. And I believe that was my next post. Where is it? Right here. So here is where I was looking along, came into it, and I have this little line marked here. I believe that was July 22nd's low of day. You'll notice underneath low days or above high days that we have yet to break or have not broken since we traded it. There's going to be lots of liquidity. There's going to be stops underneath. So we broke the low of day. I had this little extending rectangle. These extending rectangles I get off of the footprint. So if I see a low volume area, like right here, this little volume gap, I'll mark it. And what we see, I'll mark it with a extending rectangle. And what we see is these like to be backfilled. So price likes to come back to these, fill it, and then move. Because price, there's not a lot of volume there, so there's indecision. And price wants to trade into it and see if there's active buyers or sellers there. So again, we broke, I believe it was the 22nd of July's low of day, came into this volume pocket, and that was the temporary low of day, and we got I think 20 or a little bit over 20 point bounce. So yeah. And then after that, I was able to make the money there, and then I just size down and take scalps afterwards. So just 4 or 5 points, I think in this case was like 4.5 points I came out with. And it was just using the same techniques, using the footprint, identifying volume gaps and where I want to be active